What a time to join us wherever you are in the world. They're shaking hands on Red Bull Sailing. They're shaking hands because they have just won race 8 in brilliant conditions. Welcome to Cardiff. Welcome to the Extreme Sailing Series. Joining me, Hannah White. We'll come back to you with an update in a moment, but second place in this race number 8, the team from Denmark, SAP Extreme Sailing.
Yeah, great performance from SAP this afternoon. We've seen them with a 1 race win, 2 seconds, a third, and that is another second for them in race 8 so far here in Cardiff Bay.
Thank you, Hannah. Alinghi, this boat, if you've been following the circuit this year, they've been thriving in the light winds. How do they go when it blows a bit harder? We're finding out this afternoon. They're from Switzerland. Alinghi, third in this race number 8. You can hear the ripple of applause. There's a big crowd here as coming round the Chinese team. Oh, no, look at the bows go in the water. No, no, no. Oh, that was a great recovery there. Brand new, just behind the defending champions, who are trying to do a motor racing style turn, squeeze on the inside. The Omani team get the accelerator, but China go past Oman. Oh no! Nearly lost it there. Nearly lost it. Big round of applause for China. Defending champions couldn't get past. Hey, this is good.
This is excellent stuff. The conditions here in Cardiff Bay this afternoon are absolutely perfect. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing. It is gusty here in the bay as our teams are finding out. We've got our Swiss team now, real team, coming in to cross the finish line, and they are going to be taking 5th place here this afternoon. Great work.
Yeah, real team, used to the light winds in Switzerland. They're doing all right here in the big winds of Wales. And there'll be big local support in Wales for Team Wales Land Rover. Much more controlled, less wind around that mark. Jibe now, always a tricky manoeuvre. The boom comes over, the crew swap sides. Oh, well, very stylish, very smooth, and a big round of applause here in Wales. Brand new for this tour. Beautifully executed. Land Rover Team Wales. Hey, that was something for those of you joining us around the world.
One boat left out on the course, Richard. It's GAC Pindar still making their way upwind towards us. They were over the start line at the start, so they had to go back, recross, and they're a long way behind. But even an 8th position in the Extreme Sailing Series counts for 3 points, so it's worth completing the course.
Certainly is. Now, we've been to Wales before, for those of us joining you. And if you're watching here in Wales and you want to watch our coverage, you can go online, www.extremesailingseries.com. If you've got a smartphone, you can watch like that, or you can watch the Extreme Sailing Series app, which will give you even more information. So you can enjoy the sunshine, you can watch it live on your phone, wherever you are in the world. But the best place to be right now is, if you're into sailing, is right here in Cardiff. A year ago, we were following the Olympic competition in Weymouth and Portland. Spectacular sailing down there, and the conditions here remind me of the conditions we had at the Olympics last year. And there are many sailors, many British sailors out there on the water today who are taking time out from Olympic campaigns. Their target is Rio, medals there, sailing such a successful sport for Great Britain. But the Extreme Sailing Series in the multi-hull world, in the sailing world, is the tour where the world-class sailors are going.
So just got pictures of GAC Pindar coming past us now, coming up to the finish line. Most of their usual crew, Richard, are of course over in San Francisco for the Red Bull Youth Americas Cup. So Brad Ferrand on board as debut for his skippering this week is coaxing the boat across the finish line. He's got Ian Williams on board, but what a baptism of fire for him.
Yeah, well, fantastic. As you say, pretty much of a new crew in that one. Well, they've just been talking to race control. GAC Pindar give us a little tip to remind us there's still plenty of wind out there. Well, we're here in Cardiff now, but we've been already this year to Oman. That was quite a start, wasn't it? Then we headed off to Singapore, off to the Olympic venue, Qingdao, China. Lighter winds there. And then on the River Douro in Portugal. That was challenging. Everything was loaded up, and the whole tour headed for Great Britain and for Cardiff. Well, you've just had a glimpse, haven't you, at the end of that last race, race number 8. There are 8 world-class teams competing. And in a moment, we're going to go back to the live action. But first of all, we're going to have an overview of where we are at the moment in this tour here in Wales. Let's see how the standings are. We've had 8 races so far. The windy races, they've all been today. It started off in very light winds yesterday. So that's the state of play. Let's have a look at how 8 races has materialised on the leaderboard. It's close, I'll tell you. Red Bull Sailing Team, 2 Olympic double gold medals from Austria. They are leading from Austria. Second, Denmark, SAP Extreme Sailing. They've never come second in one of these events. Just 1 point between them. The championship leaders, they're third at the moment. That's Alinghi, the red and black sails from Switzerland, and the defending champions, the Wave Muscat from Oman. That's the top 4, but we've got a new 1 and 2, and Hannah White, you've been watching all the time. Red Bull Sailing Team and SAP are on top. Very close, though. This is
a fantastic return to form for Roman O'Gara from Red Bull Sailing Team. They haven't had a great couple of events leading into this. They've been plagued with problems, we've been plagued with injuries, but now they are back in form and on top of the leaderboard.
Big support on this tour for Red Bull Sailing Team. O'Gara and Heinz-Peter Steinacker, big stars in Austria, double Olympic gold medalists, but on this tour, they've never ever achieved top slot. That's a surprise, perhaps. Now, in the 2013 round of the Extreme Sailing Series, they really wanted to win it. Well, they're currently in a podium place, but I guess they're running out of runway. The team that are really enjoying it, though, Alinghi, the top team, the strongest team going into this event.
Yeah, skippered by Californian sailor Morgan Larson. They've got Anna Tunnicliffe on board, the Olympic gold medalist, only woman sailing in this series. Great stuff from Alinghi.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, sailing with Alinghi this year. These guys are great. Hopped on board with them yesterday and really excited. They're very knowledgeable and I'm hoping to learn a thing or two from them as well.
And we're lucky to have Anna. She's really actually, you know, she's a professional. She's an Olympic gold medalist and at the top of her game. So tactically, it's great to have the addition. She'll really, you know, bring a lot to us and allow me to focus on the speed with the guys and she'll just be telling us where to go.
I think it's great that I can, you know, hopefully be strong enough to do the roles that they put me in and I'm looking forward to hopefully being an asset to the team.
She took me to the gym and broke me yesterday, so yeah, she's going to push us. And you know, having just somebody at that level on board just lifts everybody's game, physically and mentally. And you know, we're just looking forward to sort of a new dynamic and keeping it fresh.
Well, you can't get a much better day than this, can you?
Absolutely fantastic. Conditions are perfect here and we're just 3 minutes away from rolling into race number 6 of the day, which is race number 9 here in Cardiff.
That's right, as Hannah said, it is a perfect day. Well, we're going to have a look at the course. Pretty simple course. It's an easy one to follow this year. Here we go. That's the site. Cardiff Bay, bang in the city centre, pretty close to the rugby and the football grounds. Off the start and you go all the way down the bay.
Yeah, you head to the yellow mark, then there's a gate which the sailors have to go through. They can choose to go around either one. Then they do a sausage at the top of the course, going back and forth through this gate and the green mark a couple of times. Then it's a fantastic fast reach right down the bay to all the spectators at the bottom before they come through the finish line. But that isn't the finish. We're sending them back up the course again to that sausage at the top and the gate, where they do another lap. Here they go through the top gate. Then they head back down again to all the spectators, past the big hotel, which causes so many problems with gusts, then to the finish line.
Thank you, Hannah, and beautifully timed because the 2-minute gun has just gone. Great sight this, as you just look at through the heads, through the crowds watching, and there are many thousands around the bay. This is tricky because we're in the countdown, 1 minute 30 to the start, but getting this right is far from straightforward.
It's very, very difficult, especially here in Cardiff Bay. The sailing area is tiny. It's very gusty with all the buildings on the shore. There's a very small amount of space for the 8 teams to maneuver in, so staying out of trouble is not easy. There's only about 50 or 60 yards between the shore and the start line, so the teams really try and stay very, very quiet, very still on the start line. But here we go, coming up to the 1 minute gun, Richard.
It is, and this is the time now, as that great camera shot there. Now, if you are behind the line, you can see one end of the mark line, bottom left of picture. There is Lee McMillan on the Wave Muscat. Look at that, looking under the boom, looking cannot be over the start line, otherwise he'll have to dive back. As we open out there, we'll be able to see the other end of the line, and that will give you some perspective. The Wave Muscat are looking very close to being over. Red Bull are close there.
You can see how close to the shore we are. You can see the flags in the bottom right of your picture. They're on the land, so really the distance is so tight. 25 seconds to go.
Well, this is a very short line here. Great view for the thousands who've come to watch. Who do you like the look of? I like the look of the Wave Muscat. They've got their nose just out in front, but Land Rover Team Wales, can they squeeze in the top?
We've seen some great starts from SAP Extreme Sailing Team. Can they repeat that? Here we go.
2, 1.
And they are off. Great acceleration there from Real Team, the Danish team. Alinghi as well, looking nice with the red and black sails on the left-hand side of the start line.
Agree with you, Hannah. Yeah, the red and black sails on the far side are looking good, but the ones that are looking best to me, the dark blue tails, it's Real Team from Switzerland, the experts, the champions on the Swiss lakes. They're brand new for 2013 on the Extreme Sailing Series, but I tell you what, they're getting better and better. And there they are, the hull flying a bit more. Alinghi trying to squeeze up towards that yellow mark. And my money would be on Alinghi, red and black sails, or it's Real Team. Beautiful breeze, and it's a much clearer breeze away from the buildings as they head out to that yellow mark, and it's a head-to-head between the two Swiss teams.
Be really interesting to see what happens at this mark. We're going to have Alinghi, I think, coming in on the inside. They've got the overlap by the looks of it. We're on board with Alinghi right now. Looking back, looks like they are just a nose ahead of SAP there, but we've got Red Bull in the mix as well. There's a lot going on at the top there. Who's going to get round that mark first and head off down towards the gap? Here we go. It is Real Team, the Danish team, SAP on the inside and Alinghi on the outside, and Red Bull from Austria in 4th position around the mark.
That's right, Switzerland, Denmark, Switzerland, Austria, Oman. That's the top 5. And it was Real Team and Alinghi with the red and black sails are making, they're sliding past them. We're on board with them. Morgan Larsen, the skipper. Anna Tunnicliffe on board, close to camera, former Olympic gold medalist. And Alinghi are rolling past their Swiss rivals, but they're on the outside. They've got to give space down the bottom there. And it's the blue sails of their Swiss rivals who are squeezing round, but Alinghi with the red and black sails have done a super job there. They've squeezed on the inside, and SAP have done an even better job.
Yeah.
The yellow sails of SAP, who are really sailing well today, saw a gap, and it was a brave move, Hannah.
It really was a brave move. There wasn't a lot of space there, but they pulled it off. They got round that mark. Really good. We're on board again with Alinghi. Morgan Larsen, the skipper of Alinghi with the red and black sails, holding up his protest flag. He's not happy with the situation, Richard. He didn't think there was enough room for SAP to squeeze in the inside.
Hey, watch out. New boat could enter the frame, but SAP Extreme Sailing, are they doing a protest? Are they doing a penalty? It looks like they're doing a penalty. A little too bold at the bottom mark. They got screamed at. They played the percentage. They thought, hey, we could get thrown out of this. Right. Pause for breath. New boat for you to look at. Two-tone blue sails, Wave Muscat, defending champions, were nowhere near the front. They've chosen the other side of the racecourse, and they're coming in on collision. They're just going to go behind Alinghi. But Alinghi have stayed out of trouble, and the Wave Muscat have sailed themselves into 1st position. Well, hard to follow if you're here, because it suddenly looked like a battle between 3 boats that didn't include the Wave Muscat.
Look what a lead they have. Extraordinary. Interesting. The other boats, Alinghi, SAP, they chose the right-hand buoy at the gate. The Wave Muscat decided to stay out of trouble and come left. And look at the gains they've made. We're on board with them now. It's looking good for them, Richard.
Really is. I mean, Lee McMillan there saw there was trouble up ahead, thought, I don't want to get involved in that. I'm going to go to the other side of the course. He did. So it is now the Wave Muscat. We are now 75% through as he rounds the bottom mark. Lee McMillan, sailed for Great Britain in the Olympic Games, leads with the two-tone blue sails, and the boat that's chasing him has been chasing, they've been chasing each other all season. They are the 1 and 2 on the World Tour. They were teammates, they're not anymore.
No, so interesting. They're actually tied at the top of the table on points at the moment, and these guys have been having a battle all throughout the season, and today is no different. They're 1 and 2 on the leaderboard, they're 1 and 2 out there on the race course today.
So Oman, the Wave Muscat, from the nation of Oman in the Middle East, who are becoming an increasingly powerful force in the world of sailing. Flying a hull is the two-tone blue of the Wave Muscat, heading up towards the top mark before they head back towards where the majority of the crowd are. But Lee McMillan saw the opportunity, pounced. Okay, now he has the power on, and what a sight that is as the leader now, the defending champions, have a lead of, let's just have a look, 78 metres. Alinghi in second place, just behind. Oh, look at that, flying a hull now. Look at the spray off the leeward hull.
Big bear away there from the Wave Muscats. They have to come down to get that hull back in control and back onto the water. Now this leg is fantastic for the spectators here live in Cardiff and around the world. They're reaching down across the wind, down towards the bottom mark. Fantastic.
We're on board now with them, those of you watching it on your phones or on the screens. Now, the next buoy they're going to, we've seen some really big gusts. If they round that buoy with a big gust, it's almost impossible to make the turn, and you've got a big concrete wall in front of you. At the moment, there isn't one of those big gusts. Here come the Wave Muscat. Nice, smooth rounding. There's going to be a big cheer from them as they come to the finish. It's been quite a comeback.
There they go around this mark, head back up to that gate again and do another lap at the top. But they're sailing past the crowds, 150 metres, the gap between them and second place Alinghi at the moment. A fantastic lead for them. Can they keep it up?
So Alinghi now chasing the Wave Muscat as they power on down towards the bottom mark. Very short leg there. Look at the gusts down the racecourse. Great view to the crowds now. Wave Muscat. And Alinghi now, we're on board still with the Wave Muscat. And Alinghi now furling their big, powerful turbocharge of a sail a little earlier. And a neater mark rounding by Alinghi. Look at that, just clipping the mark there. Dips in the water, and look at they've got a better angle to the next mark.
They really have. They had a very tidy mark rounding there. Let's see if Real Team from Switzerland up on one hull can go around the mark as cleanly. Yes, they can. That's another beautiful mark rounding. Great boat handling out here on Cardiff Bay this afternoon.
And the team that were in the lead, Red Bull Sailing Team, are now in 4th place. Well, the landlocked nations from centre of Europe are in 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but it's the Middle East, Oman, who signed the British sailing star Lee McMillan, who were on a charge and leading. But if you're looking at the water, we're in the commentary position just in front here, and looking through the heads of the crowd, and we can see some pretty vicious gusts. And playing the percentage, well, Wave Muscat at the moment lead Alinghi Real Team. SAP, they were leading. They were punished for a mistake they made. They played the percentage, did a penalty turn to avoid them getting into more trouble. Now let's join the action now. We're looking at the race leader, race 9, Cardiff Extreme Sailing Series.
So Wave Muscat done a terrific job. They had a 150-metre lead over Alinghi at the mark here, right in the heart of Cardiff Bay. They've still got that same lead, so they haven't extended, but Alinghi haven't caught up either. A really nice lead at the front of the pack. It really is a case of the rich getting richer here.
Yeah, we got Land Rover, Team Wales Land Rover, back of the fleet. Remember, brand new team, just actually being part of it when you consider the experience here at the moment. Impressive Land Rover, first event absolutely in the mix. On board Alinghi, and they've broken away from the rest of the fleet now. We've got the chasing Red Bull Sailing, and Red Bull are coming down there, heading down towards the bottom mark. And there we have the two-tone sails of the Wave Muscat. We're so used to seeing them at the front of this fleet, aren't we, Hannah?
Oh, Lee McMillan has dominated this series all through last year, where they run the series overall, and this year he's at the top of the leaderboard still. Fantastic sailor, now with a huge amount of experience in such a multitude of conditions, and on a day like today that counts for everything. But these teams have had such a tough couple of days out here. Today could not be more different from yesterday. It was very, very calm, it was very quiet, very tactically difficult conditions yesterday, and today champagne sailing here in Cardiff Bay. Fantastic. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing, it's gusty, there are thousands of people here watching. It's fantastic.
I think Hannah's enjoying it.
I definitely am.
So we've got the Wave Muscat. Interesting, this is part of a development program in the nation of Oman. The plan is to teach 50,000 Omanis to sail over the next few years. They're doing more than that though, because Omani sailors who are now competing at the very highest level, many of them had never sailed half a dozen years ago, and here they are, crew on board the Wave Muscat. They're not just sailing, but they're ahead of world champions and Olympic stars. And the Wave Muscat doing a masterclass of sailing, heading down into the area where the most spectators are. Now they're coming down towards this final jibe. Again, I don't think there's a big gust there. They should get out of there in no trouble. So the two-tone blue sails, they've got Alinghi from Switzerland gaining ground on them, but here is that gust. And Alinghi chasing the Wave Muscat, who do a gentle jibe. Beautiful boat handling now. And now keeping beautiful way. They never let the power out of that sail. Full of breeze all the time. And now heading down towards what will be the end of a very, very impressive race. They came from 5th, they went to 1st. Lee McMillan saw the opportunity, went a different way to the leaders and put that in the net. Win for the Wave Muscat, but Alinghi have sailed well.
Alinghi have sailed very well. Interestingly, it's the 3rd win today for the Wave Muscat. A fantastic, fantastic result considering we've only had 6 races so far today, so they've won half of them. Alinghi doing a superb job as well, always in touch, but not quite good enough to take 1st position. Real team, look how they clawed their way back up the pack. The other Swiss team, they've got Tongi Cario on board this week. He's a very experienced Extreme 40 sailor. He'll be definitely helping with these conditions. Coming to take 3rd place here.
Yeah. If you said who's the outsider who's not been dominating the podium here, who could surprise, I think I put my money on Real Team, the Swiss team. Red Bull Sailing, they started this at the front of the pack. Then at the bottom mark, it looked like they got the advantage, but real bunch of boats at the front. SAP were in there as well. They're just coming down towards the finish, and actually they all got a little bit too greedy. The team that benefited was the calm, calculating Lee McMillan on the Wave Muscat. He said, I'm not getting involved in that. I'm going to go to the other side of the racecourse from 5th to 1st to victory. That's how champions were made. One more boat still out on the racetrack with 2 behind it as they come down to the end, and there are some vicious gusts here, Anna, aren't there? Look at this now, just what you don't want on your first Extreme Sailing Series event, but they think they're through that okay. Darker patches on the water, nice jibe, you're round, you're fine.
Big sigh of relief for China Spirit getting around that mark. I thought they were going to be hit badly by that gust, but they managed to escape clearly. As Richard said, their first event here on the Extreme Sailing Series. They will be joining the series for the other 2 events so far this year. Phil Robertson, the Kiwi sailor, on the helm as skipper this weekend, coming in to take 6th place in the 6th race today. Team GAC Pindar just coming around the final mark as well before heading to the finish line ahead of the local team, the home team here, Team Wales Land Rover, skippered by Dave Evans, the Cardiff-based sailor.
Big
Dave.
home support for Dave, isn't there? He's done a pretty good job of surrounding him with sailors with experience on this boat, not so much on this tour. We've got Olympians heading for Rio 2016. Pinned across the line, but a big cheer for Team Wales Land Rover. Well, they deserve that because they are doing a great job at their first ever Extreme Sailing Series event. Well, in a moment or two, we're going to update you on the scores, how that last race has shaken things up. Because actually, the 2 favourites here, Alinghi from Switzerland and the Wave Muscat from Oman, they haven't been mixing it right at the top of the table. So, we've had a bit of drama. Let's look on the scoreboard and see how things have changed. There we go, changed quite a bit, hasn't it? The Wave Muscat doing what they do so well around the world. The British skipper is leading the Omani team, and they're leading overall. But they're equal points with Red Bull from Austria. But look at that, it couldn't be closer, could it, Hannah? We've got between 71 points and 69 of 4 teams. 3rd is Alinghi from Switzerland, an SAP Extreme Sailing Team, who were doing so well in that race till they make a mistake and got punished. They're just 2 points behind. Spare a thought for China Spirit, because they're doing well, 6th in their first event. To jump into this tour, newcomers, and have boats behind you, big pat on the back.
Very big pat on the back. Great stuff from Phil Robertson and his team. He's got Chinese sailors on board joining them this week as well. A new team supported by the Chinese government. Great stuff. GAC Pindar in 7th and Team Wales Land Rover in 8th at the moment. But a lot of racing still to come here in Cardiff Bay. We're on race 9 at the moment. We started yesterday. We go all the way through to Bank Holiday Monday, so plenty more racing and action to come.
Yeah, we normally have about 30 racing on these tours. Looking out to sea, now you've got it, when we sit from the comfort of wherever you are here, either at the venue here in Cardiff or at home, you have no feeling of just how much energy is used up out on the racetrack. Right now, energy bars, water, energy drinks. It's a chance to actually pull yourself together. You've been on board, you know.
It's a very, very physical series here, especially when the conditions are like this. As you say, short legs, a lot of energy burn, a lot of calories burn. It's about getting refueled, deciding what happened in the last race, taking yourself forward and getting ready for the next race. But really, really hard work for this team, and a lot of hours spent out on the water, in the wind, in the sunshine, working very hard.
4:15, yeah, the clue was in the clock. Hour and a quarter left of live racing here. In that hour and a quarter, the weather forecast I have just got is that the gusts are likely to increase. Well, out there on the water, many of the presenters are out on the water and on 5th man position. Some extraordinary jobs, but one man out on the water is has been a rugby player, Alex Cuthbert, and he is joining us now after a day that I hope he won't forget for a long, long time out on the water. He's had a breezy race, I can tell you.
And I'm out with the crowds, delighted to have with me here Alex Cuthbert from the Cardiff Blues.
Hi, how's it going?
Very good, thanks, yeah. So last night you guys were playing, I don't think you were playing, but you had a win last night, which was great.
Yeah, great win. Obviously, just in the pre-season stage at the moment, the second friendly game, and a great result, and beat Sale, and on the first opening of our pits, really.
Fantastic. Now, you've had the opportunity to be a guest on one of the Extreme 40s. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience, fair play. I got a hand at to the guys on there. It's hard work out there, especially how windy it is, and it was a great experience, and it was better than I thought, really.
Great. So you play on the wing, and you're used to kind of quick, speedy sprints. Did you get plenty of that on the Extreme 40 as well?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit faster than me, so yeah, obviously a lot more, and it's obviously it shows a bit of strength, obviously a lot of tactical as well, and it is fast out there, and it's faster than you think, and a bit of scary moments as well when you literally feel like you're going to tip over, but it's all good fun.
Well done. So Alex went out on the Team Wales boat. That's the guys who are here representing Great Britain. Well done for doing that. Have you had a chance to have a look around as well? We've got some Land Rovers here because they're our main sponsor who are presenting this activity. They're dotted about. Have you had a chance to have a look, or will you?
Yeah, obviously I've walked around. It's a spectacle here, and obviously it's good for families to come down for the day. And there's a lot of things to do. Obviously, if you want to have a few drinks or just enjoy watching the boats out there, really.
Are you surprised at how big the crowds are? I mean, they extend all the way around the bay.
Yeah, obviously, it's luckily we've had a good luck with the weather, and obviously everyone's come down to enjoy the day, and I've had a good day, and obviously I think everyone else is as well.
It's kind of the perfect place to have another sporting activity, this here being our second year at Cardiff Bay. What other sporting activities take place in Cardiff in addition to the rugby?
Well, I think obviously rugby's sort of the main point there, obviously in Wales, but it's good to have things like this down in the bay, and obviously people to experience this extreme sailing. Obviously not many people have. Yeah.
Lovely. It's been great talking to you, Alex Cuthbert from the Cardiff Blues here at Extreme Sailing Series 2013.
Well, one of the biggest names here. Enjoy those who always play this game and have made their name playing this game in the pre-countdown sequence. Race control have just advised there's going to be a few minutes till a start. There's not the countdown position. You just joined us. I'm Richard Simmons, joined by Hannah White here. This is the Extreme Sailing Series. We're here in Cardiff, where the Wave Muscat, the defending champions, have just got themselves back into the overall league. Great move. Conditions are exciting. Windiest we've seen for some events. But the breeze, the darks, patches over the water, just showing how strong some of these gusts. Right, we're watching the Extreme Sailing Series. It might be new to, if it's not, give you a refresher. But this is how the Extreme Sailing Series works. All teams race identical 40-foot-long multi-hulls. They're fast, and closing speeds can be in excess of 100 kilometers an hour. With racing taking place on compact stadium courses, incidents can and do happen. Trying to get now behind Team Extreme, they've hit them! The boats are also extremely overpowered, so when the wind blows hard, they can capsize. This is the Wave Muscat, they're over! Oh, the bows are dug in, the crews are clinging on, crash, the mast has gone! Oh! At each of the 8 Extreme Sailing Series event locations, around 30 races are held. Each lasts between 10 and 15 minutes. Teams must count every single race result. It's 10 points for a race win, 9 points for second, and so on. The team with the highest score at the end of the event wins. So that's how it all works, and it goes all over the world. We've just come from Porto in Portugal. You think things are tight here. Out there we are racing on the River Douro, big high concrete walls, just like the ones there are around the base here. That was a much tighter race course, but here in Cardiff they can really stretch their legs as they go out into the bay. But the breeze is forecast to increase in the next 40 minutes. We're in a countdown.
4, 3, 2, 1. AP is down.
AP is down. The familiar words of Phil Lawrence, the sounds of the man who runs this show. Plenty of pressure on him to get all these races in. Conditions often challenging. Sailors always demanding. Phil Lawrence always delivers.
Yeah.
So now inside 4 minutes. Hannah is looking forward to this one. So who's impressed you?
Yeah, it's going to be a great race, the next one. Conditions were forecast to die down a little bit this afternoon. We were expecting it to be about sort of 8 to 10 knots, but the great news is it is building and building out here on Cardiff Bay, and it's fantastic. The water is flat, the wind is gusty, the sailors are loving it.
What we've seen this afternoon, though, is we had new faces at the front. We had the Austrians, Red Bull Sailing Team, SAP as well, as we come down to 3 minutes to the start. Then the Wave Muscat. Lee McMillan found an opportunity to overtake in the last race. I keep an eye out for the two-tone blue sail of the Wave Muscat. Often, when you see this team win a race, they follow it up with another bullet. Like in all sports, so much is about confidence. All these teams out here can deliver a race win. The trick is to keep doing it. And the two-tone sails of the Wave Muscat, they've played that trick a number of times rather well. So my tip is watch out for the Wave Muscat. What course will they be racing at them? Shall we show you? Well, let's just have a look.
So course remains the same as it has been for the afternoon. We've got a very small area here in Cardiff Bay. The teams are starting behind this very short start line, very close to the harbour. They're heading up into the bay, up to a gate, doing a sausage up at the top of the course between the gate and the yellow and green marker, before they then head back down across the wind, reaching a very fast leg to us down in the bay. They cross the finish line, but that isn't the finish. They sail past us here in the commentary platform, past the crowds, and back up to the top of the course again before they do another little lap between the gate and the yellow and green markers before coming back down towards the thousands of crowds here in Cardiff Bay and across the finish line. 13 legs in total, very small, very gusty. I don't know if you saw, you can see in the left-hand side of your picture there's a big hotel on the far side of the bay, and that's causing a lot of problems, a lot of gusts and a lot of lulls as they reach across the wind and head back into the centre of Cardiff.
Certainly do. Hey, 1 minute 23 to go. 1 minute 23, so who's going to get the best start? We've just seen the two-tone sail of the Wave Muscat, a man's lifestyle destination. That's how you can spot them down the side of the boat.
10, 9, 8,
Coming up to the 1 minute mark. So Lee McMillan standing up there on the back of the boat. He's arrived early. You arrive early. Look, just as Hannah was saying, there's no space there. You're almost kissing the shore as you go along. Less than a metre between you and the crowd. In fact, you know, you can lean out and touch a skipper.
Jump on board, Richard, jump on board.
Okay, earliest at the line is left of picture, black and red sails, Alinghi. Red Bull Sailing are there, so actually the overall strongest teams have arrived at the line first. It's a tricky place to stay on a liquid racetrack that's trying to slide you back. So it's all about finding a gap. These boats accelerate very fast, but you try not to get the wind blocked. You're trying to get what they call free air, so that when there's time to pull the trigger and go, you've got space. You're not trapped by another boat. Who do we like the look of at the moment? I like the look of the Wave Muscat.
Wave Muscat looking very nice. China Spirit and Land Rover over on the right. They haven't got any room at all. Here we go. They are off.
Oh, I think there's a collision there. The Wave Muscat, I'm pretty sure they touched SAP. That's what I saw. Can't be sure about that. Alinghi were over the line at the start. Race control are telling me. I hope they've told them. Alinghi now trying to turn around and recross the line. That's the rules. So there was drama there. Alinghi were over the line. They're paying the penalty and going back. And now as we head up towards the top mark, it is the yellows top of the sail. SAP Extreme Sailing, they did this last time but then got it wrong. They're leading Switzerland's real team, Austria in third, but Alinghi as Land Rover or Team Wales cross the line. Look at this, the former America's Cup winners, the overall tour leaders, jumped the gun. They had to go back and cross the line, and they will be furious about that.
They really will be furious. It was only by a couple of metres, but they were over the line. It was very close between SAP Extreme at the top, who are going around the mark in the leading position. They're leading the Danish team, the other Swiss team, real team, who
hold it, Hannah. I think they're doing it again. Is it another penalty? The leader again is doing a penalty turn.
Do you know what? I wonder if that was for their mistake at the start with the Wave Muscat. They were very, very close. We thought there might have been a collision. Maybe that was what it was for. Maybe they touched a mark. Who knows? We will find out for you.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was definitely a moment at the start. So the yellow sails of SAP Extreme Sailing are now in 5th position. They were leading. It's not their afternoon. But leading the race is the dark blue sails of Real Team from Switzerland. Remember, at the bottom of the course, you can go around either of those two marks. The Real Team have chosen the left-hand side, and Austria's Red Bull Sailing have gone the other side. The Wave Muscat are going with them. And look at that, the SAP animations are showing us the separations, and they're showing us that the gain line, that pink line which shows the leader, goes to Red Bull Sailing Team. Red Bull Sailing Team have got the advantage. Those animations there really explain what's happening as the teams decide which side of the course to go up.
So if we remember the last race, it was actually the left-hand marker, the same that Red Bull and Wave went round this time, that paid off. That's what paid off last time. That is what's paying off in this race as well. So I think we're going to see a lead change here. I think it's going to be Red Bull around this next mark first.
Is it? Is it? Because the Swiss team are going to charge in. Is there a gap they can squeeze round? Dark blue sails looking for the gap. Can they cross ahead? Yes, they have, but they're going to have to turn, and that gives the gate opening to Red Bull Sailing. So two landlocked nations at the front. Red Bull unfurl the big power of the Jenica downwind. Turn second into first. The advantage is 200 metres, and Oman, they've done it again. The defending champions sneak into second.
They're so cool, they're so calm. They just stay out of trouble, do their own thing. They don't engage, do they? And I love that about them. Lee doing a superb job of just staying in touch. He just stays behind, waits for his moment to pounce, and then he goes in and grabs his opportunity. So
right.
The Austrians leading.
Well, we're going to got the animations now. That's just showing coming down to the gate. Choose one of those two marks. Red Bull Sailing are leading. The Wave Muscat, Hannah was saying they choose their moment to pounce. But at the moment, Red Bull Sailing round the left-hand side. The Wave Muscat slide in behind them. They don't like playing follow my leader. You get bad wind from the boat in front. So Lee McMillan now heading upwind. Lee McMillan, remember, following that bullet, that first in the last race. He's in second at the moment. He's not a man who enjoys second place. He's on the chase. Red Bull chasing. Red Bull being chased rather by Wave Muscat. Look now, Red Bull have tacked. When you tack, you slow down. Power on the Wave Muscat. Oh, and they've got the tack wrong on Red Bull, and the Wave Muscat have pounced.
They are absolutely dead in the water on Red Bull. This was Wave's moment, and they have taken it, as we've said, as have Real Team, who have gone past Red Bull, as have SAP Extreme, who have gone past Red Bull. Is something wrong? What's going on board? We'll find out as soon as we can. Here comes the acceleration from Red Bull, but they've gone from first to fourth.
Hey, a little bit of a surprise at the top, because we thought the Wave Muscat appear to have exactly done the same thing. I don't know if there's a big shift. Unusual for two world-class teams to get a turn like that wrong. But what's happened is the tables have been changed, and we've got Real Team now in the lead, SAP behind, and China have sailed themselves into this contest. And the Wave appear to have stalled just like Red Bull Sailing.
Red Bull did a turn in that. I don't know if they felt that was their only option to get out of being stalled, or whether they've done a penalty turn. Who knows? But GAC Pindar have come up. They've overtaken the Wave and Red Bull as well. There's been this race has gone completely on its head. And now the leaders are firing across the wind, reaching up into the heart of Cardiff Bay towards us here in the commentary platform.
What a sight that is. They deliver on the Swiss lakes. They've got European and national championships amongst them. They're brand new to this tour. Real Team keeping the boat a bit flatter, less windage, keeps it faster. They're heading down right into the throng of the crowd now. But Real Team, we talked earlier, Hannah, about we like the look of this team. They're improving at every event. They've now got a 60-metre lead over SAP. We've had a real race of up and down. In the lead, penalty turn, and now they're in second place with the momentum to catch up Real Team.
So here we go, these top three really battling it out. Interestingly, if SAP can stay in this position, they'll actually move into first place overall. We know how tight it is at the top, but right now it is the Swiss team who lead the battle down to this top mark. The handbrake turn comes on, around they go, right in front of the crowds here in Cardiff Bay. There are no gusts on that mark at the moment, so they make it round safely. Beautiful boat handling, but SAP close the gap. China Spirit, they have worked their way up the fleet, haven't they? They were right at the back to start with, and now here they are in third position.
You know, these are two teams at the front that I think are arguably the form teams of this event. They're really looking comfortable. Real team, they delivered in Porto. They're on the podium. They're not there by accident. They're sailing a super round. Team that probably deserves more airtime than we're giving them is China Spirit. Brand new. You simply don't walk into this tour and make an impression as fast as they have. They're on the outside of SAP. Rules say they can't squeeze in there, leaving their big, powerful Jenica up until the last possible minute. But Real Team must be feeling pretty comfortable there. SAP and China Spirit having their own battle. That's good news for the leaders. Yeah, we're going to come back to you in a moment and give you an update where the overall leaders are. But lovely shot that of SAP Extreme Sailing, and that's how the SAP analytics tell us the story, showing their boats in second and actually gaining on Real Team. Well, we're going to come back into the mix of it, and we've got the side big gust there, as you see. Real Team, but nothing too scary, all under control. And just you can see the blue sail of the Wave Muscat. Yeah, they've done it again, haven't they? They were out in trouble, and Real Team and Wave Muscat, who were 1 and 2, weren't happy about their manoeuvre. Unusual to see it. They're pulling themselves together.
They really are. They're just clawing themselves back up the fleet one by one, but that's a big gap for the Wave Muscat to close between where they are currently in fourth position and third place at the moment. We're about to find out what that distance is. It's quite a long way. You can see from the graphics we've got about 400 meters between the Wave Muscat and the current leaders, the Swiss team, Real Team. Is it too much?
Yeah,
I think so.
I reckon. I think this is the damage limitation now. They're in fourth place at the moment, but on this tour, Lee McMillan has said to me many times, you just keep delivering top 5 places, you'll look okay by the end of the day. All right, let's just go to the leaders. It is the two form teams, Real Team from Switzerland and SAP. We've got a double act in chance. I like the look of SAP Extreme Sailing. I think they have got the potential to Real Team in. Can you say that?
Real Team in. I think that's what it is. SAP. This is their first year on the tour. They're doing such a good job. Really performing well.
Hey, interesting. They've chosen different sides, Hannah. Right, that won't help the team with the Danish double act in chance, because they wanted to leave the big sail up until the last minute. Lift it up a bit. Let's just have a look on the SAP analytics and see who's chosen the right side. Hey, the people who provide the analytics will like the picture they're delivering, because it's showing a 38-meter advantage to SAP. Let's just stick with that, because 25, it's closing when they tack. But as they get the momentum, that will show us a truer picture. And it is showing at the moment, things are looking good for SAP.
Yeah.
Analytics don't lie, but I think there might be some breeze at the top. Real Team have tacked. So who's going to be first at the mark? Is it going to be the yellow sails of SAP or blue Real Team? I think we know.
Yeah, SAP looking very strong there, and they're on starboard, but they don't need to be on starboard because Real Team really have slowed through that tack. But we've got China Spirit coming in on starboard, squeezing in front of Real Team up into second place. If they can complete this maneuver, tack and accelerate across the wind and reach up towards us on the shore, then they will remain in second place, pushing Real Team into third. Great move from them. Definitely that left-hand gate mark really paid off there, Richard.
It did. SAP are leading. That's oh, look at that lovely shot there as we head down towards the climax of this race. SAP have got the breeze. Remember, they started this race in the lead, then had a penalty turn, infringement on the start, and they've got back in it. This team are going quickly and confidently. So top three now. You know, this could take them into the overall lead of a series. Never ever won a race on the tour. In second place, brand new on the tour. This will be the performance of the day. Hey, what's happening? SAP slowed down, gust behind, and in between the hotel and the other buildings, little funnels of wind, little gusts come through. I think SAP are going to be okay.
I think they are too. China Spirit have to be careful. They have got Real Team hot on their heels. And in this, it's very, very gusty around here, but I think they're going to be able to hang on to second place. So SAP now coming up to this final mark. The Jenica comes out, it's a bear away, and then into a jibe into the finish line. At the beginning of this year, neither of these co-skippers had been on board an Extreme 40 before. Absolutely extraordinary, both with a wealth of match racing experience, but this is new to them. Here they come, Richard, to the finish line, flying the flag for Denmark.
What a race. Yes, Graham Haslam, Rasmus Kostner from Denmark, the British sailor Peter Cummings on board, but that is a really superb race win. They led off the line, they made a penalty, they did a penalty turn, they got in the lead. Yep, look back, they're all behind you. Great race there for SAP. But the performance of the day, well, I'm going to give it to this boat. China Spirit, brand new on the tour. A big cheer for China Spirit, who've delivered second on their first ever day. Great sailing from them. Real Team, yeah, again, they're in a podium position. I think when you look at the scores, which we will, Real Team are going to be inside the top 3 after this race. Well, they may feel their tails are a bit between their legs, these two boats who are just coming across the line, because 1 and 2 into the race, both got stalled in attack. I think it was their own doing. And Red Bull Sailing Team, yeah, well, they made the better comeback. Lee McMillan just behind in 5th place. Not a disaster, but they would have wanted much better because they had an opportunity to take the lead. From those boats' perspective, the only good news perhaps is their greatest rival, Alinghi from Switzerland, didn't enjoy the last 15 minutes either.
No, they really didn't. Very disappointing performance from Morgan Larson and his team on board Alinghi. They had a bit of a mixed result today. 1 minute they're at the front, the next minute they're at the back, but not a great race from them. Can they pull it back? Currently at the top of the leaderboard, tied with the Wave Muscat, but a few more performances like that, they won't be there for long. GAC Pindar as well, what a baptism of fire it is for their new skipper, making his debut here in Cardiff this week. Brad Ferrand, the young Kiwi. He's had it all on today, coming in 7th place. And then, of course, the home team, the invitational team, Dave Evans and his group of Welsh boys on board Team Wales Land Rover, coming in 8th position. That's the whole complement across the finish line now. And what a race that was.
Thank you, Hannah. An update there from Race Control, who are just talking their way through. We have another race in. I've been advised that the start is in around 7 minutes. So let's just see how those results affected the overall scores here in Cardiff, because the Wave Muscat was leading. As we said, things have changed. SAP Extreme Sailing Team, the Danish double act in charge. They're exciting to watch. They're confident. They're really pushy when it's breezy, and they're leading overall. Just 1 point ahead of the Austrian double gold double act Red Bull Sailing. The defending champions, 77 points in 3rd. Alinghi 4 points off the lead in 4th. Yet China Spirit, 53 points. They're ahead of GAC Pindar and Team Wales Land Rover. So that is the update of what's happening overall. So the boat of the day, the team of the day, is SAP Extreme Sailing Team. Well, wherever you're watching this in a day in the world, it's 20 to 5 local time here.
I'm going to do that.
It's got a little cooler. Temperature down now to about 17 degrees. Breeze a little lighter. 40 seconds to go. Well, we're going to go now to Josh, who's in the crowd. We've had thousands here this afternoon.
Back amongst the crowd again, and all the thousands of people that you can see behind me here, all around this wonderful 500-acre site here at Cardiff Bay. 4 members of the public with me here. What are your names, please?
Gavin.
Debbie.
Gaynor.
Max.
Let me ask you, you're local? Have you travelled in today?
No, we come up from Winchester.
Winchester, how about yourself?
Yeah, same.
All from Winchester, lovely. So are you sailors yourself? Is this something you're interested in or want to get into?
I'm just a crew, but we do sail a bit, yes.
We've got a Dart 18, so similar but on a much smaller scale.
Fantastic. And have you had a chance to get out on the water here before or anywhere? No.
No.
So the thing about the sailing here is we actually bring all the action as close as we can to the shore. And is that something that really excites you?
Yes, no, at least it's good for spectators, isn't it? Being close to the shore and everyone can see what's going on.
Yeah. How about yourself? Have you found that exciting to see the crew right up front?
Yeah, it's nice to see. You can see a bit more about what's happening on the boats. They are sort of feel like virtually touching distance, which is amazing.
It's incredible as well that we actually put a sixth person on the boat as well, so they get the chance to kind of be a guest on that boat, and that's something that doesn't happen in other sports as well. One of our sponsors is Doom Beer Bar. Have you had a chance to go out and see that bar yet?
Oh yes, of course, absolutely. It's a very good beer indeed.
Land Rover's our main series sponsor as well. Have you had a chance to have a look at some of their cars?
I haven't, but you did, didn't you? You went across just a minute ago, yeah. And they have a Land Rover, so there you go.
Perfect. Well, this is Extreme Sailing Series 2013. Here we are in Cardiff. Join us next time in Nice, in Paris.
Oh, we'll always join you next time. Pleasure. Right, okay, we got sailing to go. We got about 7 minutes to the start. Now, we were celebrating with the brand new team from China, but they've had a bit of a challenge because the news from the racetrack is out on the course. They've hit a hard buoy. They're smiling, but they've got a hole in their boat. That's coming out later. So plenty of repairs to do on board for that. Great performance. Now, a little earlier, we spoke to the man from China, William Wu. He only started sailing a few years ago, and now he's competing against the very best in the world.
Okay, I'm here with William Wu from China Spirit. Now, William, just explain to me a little bit about your team and what you're here and what you're hoping to achieve in this competition.
Yeah, China Spirit is a new Chinese team, and actually it's an exclusive multi-platform team. That means we'll sail on this something like the Extreme 40 International Regatta. Meantime, we'll also sail, maybe join some regattas in China, because sailing is just growing up in China, so we just try to be there. And the team here is together with some Kiwi guys, and the skipper is Phil Robinson, a very nice skipper. And with all those guys, you can see Nick, Gath, Jimmy, and Adam. And yeah, it's pretty nice to sailing with them. And because for me, it's a learning opportunity, and to sailing with them is great. It's a great opportunity for me to learn and enjoy.
And just remind you, you actually sailed on the series before. Just remind us a little bit about that in 2011.
Yeah, actually it's in 2011, the Qingdao stopover. I was a member of Team Extreme. At that time, the skipper is Holland, German skipper, very nice skipper. And that is my first time to sail on Extreme 40. It made me feel so excited. And as I remember, we got one round number 1, one round number 2, as I sailed on the boat. So it's a fantastic moment. Yeah.
And just remind us, what are these boats like to sail?
Oh yeah, yesterday it's light breeze, and but today I think we'll have some strong breeze above 12 knots. But if you sail this boat in strong wind, you're going to fly one hole, and your boat is pretty healing, and it's physical demanding if you want to hoist the Janica and do everything. In a strong wind, it's pretty demanding. Yeah.
And it's pretty exciting for the crowds to watch. Now, we know there's a festival going on here in Cardiff, so what can people expect to see when they look out in the water if the breeze is blowing?
Maybe some of the people, they want to see man overboard or capsize. I think about 2 years ago what happened in Qingdao, 4 boats capsized. Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah.
Now, a little bit about the team. China Spirit is a new team here to the tour. You're looking forward for the rest of the year. You're going to be joining the circuit for the entirety of the rest of the 2013 tour. So just tell us a little bit about that and your hopes for the future.
Yeah, as we are a new team, our CEO Noel and also our team manager, Helvi, I think they are working extremely hard. To run this team we need a lot of budget, and I think they are working on that. And we are going to do the next 2 events in France and Brazil. Yeah, this is our target. I mean, for this year. But meantime, we also think about next year. hopefully we can do something more, achieve more next year. Yeah.
So things are positive, looking forward to the future with this team.
Sure. Because you think about potential in China, even sailing in China is quite young, just like a baby at this moment. Even we have Li Jiaxu, win the gold medalist in London Olympic Games, and we have one in Qingdao Olympic Games for the windsurfing. I mean the female ISX, but for the the sailing, it's still quite young. But now we are trying our best to promote sailing, to let more people to know sailing, how interesting the sport is and how amazing it is. So this is one of our mission, and we will open something like the sailing academy in China, because we have those top sailors and they can come to China and share their knowledge, skills, experience with all those Chinese sailors, so that we can improve, we can learn, and we can catch up. Hopefully maybe in future we can have more Chinese sailors sailing on this boat. Yeah.
Well, stadium racing gets underway today, and good luck to you and all your team.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Well, this is the boat lining up to start. Quick reminder what's got to happen. There's just 40 seconds to go to the start, but we'll just show you where we are before we go back into the action. Just be there very quickly. So SAP are leading, 79 points, Danish team. Red Bull second, Wave Muscat, they are in third. 27 seconds until the start. Okay, you're getting familiar with that. Let's see that start line. All right, Hannah White, we're looking at SAP, the current overall leaders, just slotted themselves into that position, and they found a gap that I can see a bit of space they might like in the middle there.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a bear away now. They're going to go behind the back of GAC Pindar. Full chat for the start line. They are looking nice there as they start. The line is clear. Pindar have their penalty flag flying. What is all that about?
They got a penalty flag flying, but two things I noticed there was the wind died the moment the gun went, and SAP had found themselves a clear bit of space. There's a dark patch in the water, which means breeze is coming their way. You can see magic if you sail, because in 5 seconds that hull will be up in the air. So the breeze is coming now. Expect the hull to rise now, and it does.
Yeah, that breeze just hits SAP, then Red Bull, Alinghi and Land Rover all at the same time. Meanwhile, the rest of the fleet on the right-hand side of the start line, dead in the water. There's going to be a big split in this fleet.
Yeah, that's a great picture, that, isn't it? As we see the breeze, and that really is one of two races. They're the leaders. They got the breeze off the line. SAP Sailing Team, they've got 2 America's Cup sailors as co-skippers. Yes, Graham Hansen on the helm, Rasmus Kostner as the tactician. They're good friends. They've sailed together for years, but until this, they'd never sailed boats like this. Well, they got the grips with it last year. They had a few moments on their way, but now they're starting to look like real contenders. They've been in the lead of the last 3 races. A couple went wrong and they ended up 3 or 4 places back. The last race they just won, and SAP Extreme Sailing are now again in the lead, and they look like they've got their composure. They've given themselves a bit of space at that top mark, and they're going round just alongside Alinghi with every chance of overhauling them as they head downwind. Switzerland lead Alinghi, the Danish duo in second, the overall leaders at the moment, and then Red Bull Sailing in third, and just really have got an impressive gap, those two, between 2 and 3.
They really have, yeah. SAP right on the tail there of Alinghi, we can see as they just go through the jibe and head for the gate. Very, very close between the 2 boats, just 14 meters, and that getting smaller all the time. Red Bull passing behind and heading for the other gate. We shall see what happens here. We're probably going to see a split here, Richard, as they go through the gate.
Yeah, I think we are, and it's interesting to see. Red Bull went there with big gusts. Alinghi are choosing the right-hand side. By the way, when we say that, we're always imagining ourselves at the bottom of the race course looking up. Alinghi round in first place, SAP are following, and Red Bull Sailing, we're on board Alinghi, by the way, if you're watching that on your phone or at home, and Alinghi are look well placed, and I think, to me, Red Bull have chosen the wrong side, but we're going to look at the SAP analytics in a moment, and that will show us if Alinghi and SAP are off and gone, which is, I think, the case. Yeah, it's looking like that, isn't it?
Certainly in the last couple of races, it's that left-hand buoy, the one nearest the shore, nearest to us, at the bottom of the screen that you can see, that has paid off on this leg. And Alinghi and SAP both looking strong in comparison to Red Bull, who are on the other side of the course.
And they are having their own race. Just a little note of those two-tone blue sails. The Wave Muscat, wrong place at the start, but right place as the race carries on, because I think they are going to overhaul Red Bull Sailing. Are we right? Alinghi leads, SAP second. Happy enough with that. Defending champions Wave Muscat in third at the moment, because I think they've overhauled Red Bull Sailing. We're on board Alinghi. For those of you watching on your screens, remember, if you're here in Cardiff, you can watch on your phone. And a Tunnicliffe right at the front of the boat, supremely fit, and also a gold medalist. Disappointment in London 2012, delight in the previous games in Beijing. There she is.
Yeah, Anna Tunnicliffe just been crowned the 9th fittest woman in the world at the World CrossFit Championships as well. She really is giving the guys a run for her money this week. But Alinghi extend their lead over SAP, doing a very nice job as they head back towards that gate. The spinnaker out, they've jibed, they're heading for that. But look at the Wave Muscat powering behind them, Richard. Real gust heading down there as they jibe over for that gate as well.
You're on board with them now. You're absolutely right. They've got a gust. They came screaming down. I'm not sure it's good enough to slide them in the first place, but it's got them right into the battle as we're past the... They just go past the halfway stage of that leg. Alinghi now round the bottom mark. SAP, better mark rounding on the inside. Now we'll have a look at how that's interesting. The Wave Muscat have gone down the right-hand side. They did want to play Fuller Melina, but I don't think that's the right side.
Well, interestingly, I'm not sure that's the mark they wanted to go round,
no,
but they found themselves in that situation and they had to go with it.
Yep.
It was a lot further for them to travel to the other mark, so we'll see how it pays off. But in the last race, that's where they got stuck. That's where they ran out of wind. Let's hope it doesn't happen for them this time.
Sure, look online.
Yeah.
SAP are providing the second place boat, and the animations, the analytics are telling us a story of how the race is unfolding. So Alinghi tacked to that top mark for the second and final time. SAP carrying on just a little further, so if there is a wind shift, they can find a gap on the inside. I think we've got a drag race to the finish between Alinghi and SAP for victory. If it stays like this, SAP, by our calculations, are still going to be at the top of the leaderboard. Alinghi, they'll be pleased. They tack at the top mark. SAP are coming into the top mark. Note the blue sail in the background is the Wave Muscat, who did a better job than I thought they'd do going up that side, and they've wound their sail back into contention. And this is top three coming down towards the most crowded area, and the Wave Muscat have got the big breeze.
Well, they've come into that mark with a lot of acceleration on port, and it's a small bear away for them, much better than the other guys coming in on starboard and having to do a big turn around, losing the acceleration.
Oh, this is close. Alinghi now, they've got the advantage, but the breeze has just died where they are. One more mark around before they head into the really tight, congested corner. Darker patch on the water. Round that, boys, so Alinghi can head up. And look at the Wave Muscat weaving just behind SAP, trying to find an overtaking lane. Alinghi are off. The hull just kissing the water as they head down towards the bottom mark. And Alinghi got the gust they wanted, and Morgan Larson is sliding into a groove and heading towards the final mark. Breeze dies as he goes past the hotel. Little puff as the gap in between the buildings. This is Morgan Larson getting the Alinghi boat back into the game. SAP, they're looking to defend second. Surely it's too late. Don't know. Dangerous thing to say in the Extreme Sailing Series. So Alinghi round. Breeze is lighter now, isn't it?
They've still got a way to go though, Richard. They're coming past all of the crowds on the shore, heading back up to the top of the course where they do another mini lap and then head back down to us again. Consistency is the key in the Extreme Sailing Series. Alinghi have not had a consistent day.
Oh, brave move. Wave Muscat saw a gap on the inside, went for it. Like you say, Lee McMillan is always looking for an opportunity to pounce. So Alinghi get rid of that big Jenica earlier. Concentrate on having less sail and more control as they make the turn, which they do. Larson turns, Hull lifts in the air. SAP have done a good job from the prowling, pouncing McMillan. And SAP defends second. Furl the Jenica up. They're now looking forward, looking to attack Alinghi. They want to concentrate on looking forward, and it'll be pleasing for them that Alinghi rather Oman, the Wave Muscat. They've got to keep an eye on the boat immediately behind them.
Yeah, SAP did a great defensive job on that little mini leg there, just forcing the Wave Muscat up a little bit higher and really opening up the gap. So Oman, well, the Wave Muscat and Red Bull very, very close now, followed by Real Team, who are coming in behind them. 100 meters is the gap between our two front runners, Alinghi and SAP. Can SAP close the gap? I think Alinghi are off, but we shall see.
Yeah, I think you might be right, but it's very gusty. And as we saw last time, when the Wave Muscat got that gust, things can change in an instant. And as we look, lovely sight that, isn't it? Looking up the leaders as they head up to the top mark. Yeah, there is still some good breeze. Oh, a lovely little gust there. As you got the gust, the boat's beautifully choreographed there. They all lifted up a hull in unison. But that is a super shot, looking through the cream of the Extreme 40 fleet, the leaders in this race. And Alinghi now just around the top mark, lead of about, they had 99 meters, just whittled down by 2 or 3. Lovely rounding, Jenica out, power on, and they rounded with a gust. Absolutely what you want. Look at that, they've extended.
Yeah, fantastic extension there from Alinghi. Just really worked on their boat speed all the way up that leg, and it was a nice mark rounding. But in fact, all of the gaps have opened up here. We're on board with Alinghi right now, looking back, and it's a long way till the next boat, which is SAP. And then another big gap to the Wave Muscat. We remember how close they were before. That gap's opened up.
62 meters though, because Alinghi have had a bigger advantage. SAP, they're not letting them go, but SAP at the moment have slowed down, and again the Wave Muscat, someone shining down on them, rounded that top mark. With the breeze blowing in their sails, the momentum carried them much, much closer now to SAP. I now agree with you, Hannah. Alinghi, you were right, they're off.
They're home and dry, aren't they? Interestingly, the Wave Muscat just putting in a jibe there, but we're on board with Alinghi. I think they've picked up their game. It wasn't a great performance in the last couple of races. They had a race win in the second race of today, and now they are about to have another race win. I don't want to be the commentators putting the curse on, but right now they're looking strong in this position. 2 more legs to go in this race before they cross the finish line.
Yeah, there we go. Alinghi, top right of your picture. If you're watching this on your screen, wherever you are in the world, welcome to Cardiff. Welcome to an event which is delivering super sailing for the crowds who've come to watch. And some impressive performances from teams who don't normally sit right at the top of the leaderboard. SAP Extreme Sailing are really demonstrating how much they've learned over the last couple of years in this tour. And Alinghi now are off, heading down towards the end of this race. They're in a dark patch of water. They're just playing it easy. They're going to head up towards that buoy a bit, and as they do, the hull just above the water. That's how they sail as fast as you possibly can. Too high out the water, you get lots of windage. But Morgan Larson, who won this event last year in charge of another team, that was Oman Air, but they are comfortable. Dangerous word to use in this series as they head down towards the final mark. SAP, can they deliver a second place after the bullet? The Danish double act are really, really sailing well out here. Well, Alinghi now have just got one marked around now. They slide through that area where we're getting used to it now, aren't we? The wind is lighter with the buildings. But look now, we've got a lead now of, what, 200 meters. SAP behind have done a good job of keeping the Wave Muscat away from them. Morgan Larson, Anna Tunnicliffe, one of a few women out on the water, but she is a woman whose credentials are pretty impressive. 9th fittest woman in the world. That's a claim to make, isn't it? But she's got every justification for making that. The Alinghi team roll into a jibe. We'll give you a little update in a moment because it's all on behind for SAP, but let's just enjoy Alinghi having their moment as they sail down and bring themselves right into contention in a podium position. So this is Morgan Larson delivering a good result again. Looking very comfortable at the back of the boat. Quick look round, yeah, they're all behind me. That's just what I need, and we're on board with Alinghi, sound signal. Victory for the Swiss team, but look, it's all on behind because SAP Extreme Sailing have got the Wave Muscat right on their tail. Louis McMillan wants it so badly, but he's not going to get it. The Danish duo lead SAP over the line. In third place, it's the Wave Muscat, upgraded from fifth. Yeah, absolutely still in the mix, but SAP are absolutely ahead of them. And Red Bull Sailing there or thereabouts, but not inside the top three. And Red Bull Sailing just out the podium places in that. They're there or thereabouts, but they're struggling to be consistent. Another team that were having a great day. This result a little disappointing for them. Real team, Switzerland. But the home team, the team from Wales, with future Olympians, great potential on board, with Extreme Sailing Series veterans, brand new to the tour. Well, big cheers now I can hear. Land Rover, Team Wales. Hey, they're getting better in every race. Yeah, impressive.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from Dave Evans and his team. They're here, their first day out on the water. Racing was yesterday, so you cannot knock them. They've got boats behind them, and that is what is the most important thing. The boat behind them in this race and heading towards the finish line is another newcomer to the circuit.
Sorry to interrupt you, Hannah, just out of sight. China team, the Chinese team had a bit of a moment. I thought it could be a bigger moment.
That's all right. GAC Pindar catching a gust, crossing the finish line. Brad Ferrand making his debut as skipper here in Cardiff and bringing up the rear. As we've heard, they've got damage on board their boat. It is China Spirit and Phil Robertson. That boat will be craned out of the water later on this evening. Their hull fixed. But for now, they're okay. They can carry on racing. So that's race 8 for today complete. Race 11 in the series complete. But we've got more action to come this afternoon. Don't you worry. We're going to be straight back into racing just as soon as the race committee have checked everyone is okay, make sure the race course is okay. We're going to be back into it. But it's the Danish team, SAP, who are at the top of the leaderboard. I think they've had a great day out on the water. They've had, by my count, 2 race wins and at least a couple of seconds and a couple of thirds. So a fantastically consistent event from them.
Certainly have, but SAP Extreme Sailings, you know, they're doing well. They're staying up there. They got in the lead. They're second. Now let's just see where they are on the leaderboard, because they sell themselves up to right into top position. Look at that. Extreme Sailing Team have got a 3-point advantage. Alinghi in the Wave Muscat, they've locked horns in Oman, in China, in Singapore and Portugal. Not even 1 point separates them here in Cardiff. What we said earlier, if the 2 top teams don't start worrying about other boats and not just focus on each other, someone else may overtake, and that is exactly what has happened. SAP Extreme Sailing Team are leading in the Extreme Sailing Series. Can they end the day in that position? Because they've never done that in the circuit's history. New boys last year, getting better this year. They're looking like championship potential for 2013. SAP, 25 minutes to go before they could make a whole new result head their way. Okay, back to Josh. You're in the crowd, and again, people to talk to.
Back in the crowd again, and I've got a couple of members of the public with me. Your names, please?
It's Jeremy.
Thea.
And whereabouts have you travelled down from today?
Stourbridge in the West Midlands.
Stourbridge in the West Midlands, so travelling a long distance. Is this your first time coming here?
No, we came down last year and it was extremely exciting, so we came again.
Okay, so tell me what really excites you about the race that's here.
It's amazing how close the boats get to the shore.
And is there a particular team that you fancy to win?
The Wave.
How about yourself?
Well, yeah, the Wave's been fun to watch. I think they're doing really well. GAC, it's always nice to see those guys going well as well, so, you know.
Is there a particular reason you like GAC Pindar?
A friend of mine, he sailed in it last year, so that was the reason we came down. But we've come along anyway to see see the sport again.
Are you sailors yourself, or is it something you'd like to get into?
I've been racing dinghies for a long time, so.
Fantastic. So you're very, very keen. That's good to see. And so Cardiff Bay here, this is our second year of running. Do you think you'll come again next year?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a great area. The area is fantastic. There's a lot to see in the town, and it's a fantastic spectator sport. You know, really good to get around down the bank towards the barrage. You know, it's a good long walk down there, and there's lots of interesting aspects of the sport to see.
Fantastic. Do you like the entertainment, the music that we're playing here?
Yeah, it's good.
What kind of music are you into at the moment?
The latest stuff, yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure meeting you both. Thanks ever so much for coming down and being loyal to us, and we'll hand back to the online team.
Thank you very much indeed. Glad you're enjoying the afternoon. Well, there's still about 20 minutes more racing. They're going to fit at least one more race in. News from the racetrack, significant too. Alinghi, the overall leaders going into this race, going into this event. Now, things aren't well on board the boat. They have an issue with their traveller, which controls the mainsail, which controls the angle of the mainsail. They're working frantically to try and get that right. They've got some time in between races, but there are problems on board Alinghi. Remember, Alinghi are fighting. They're on second place overall. They're sharing that with the Wave Muscat. So it's all getting quite tense on board Alinghi. The yellow and black sails out there, plenty of work going on board. I have just heard radio talk out on the water between race control. I've got Alinghi there as well. There's dialogue between the two. News is good. Alinghi appear to have nearly fixed their repair. And as they have, we understand we're soon going to be in the sequence. So Alinghi look like they're back in shape. Remember the team, the brand new team from China, they've got problems as well. They've got a hole in their boat. Not result ending, not day ending. They've got to take it out of the water. Right, we've talked about a lot of teams. Let's now talk you through the teams who are expected to do well, who are expected to struggle. Here they are.
This season, the Extreme Sailing Series has delivered stadium racing in Asia and Europe. We're now past the halfway mark. Some things about the tour never change. Racing's always incredibly close. Event wins have not been decided until the very end of competitions, often not until the final moments of the final race. 8 teams arrive here in Cardiff, but who's going to walk away from Wales as winners of the British round of the Extreme Sailing Series? This is the lineup. Real Team are brand new for 2013, a Swiss outfit with experience in multi-hulls where they've excelled on the lakes of their home nation. And they've made an impression straight away. They're 4th overall. They finished 3rd in Porto, and they're definitely one to watch in Cardiff. Former America's Cup winners Alinghi have won this tour before, and right now are leading overall. Consistent, calm under pressure, and fast. For many, favourites to win here in Wales. Austria's Red Bull Sailing are 3rd overall coming into Cardiff. There's 2 double Olympic gold medalists on board, but they're yet to convert Olympic form to this tour. Expect them to be mixing it at the front. Tour history says a win is unlikely. Cardiff is a big one for them. They'll feel they must win. There are some big crew changes on board GAC Pindar for Cardiff. No question about the new outfit's potential. Some question if they can weld together fast enough to make an impression in Wales. Apart from the new entries, no other team has less experience racing together. Racing under the Danish flag, SAP Extreme Sailing is an exciting team to watch. Never shy of big decisions, brave when it's windy. They've been in the top 3 twice this year, and no surprise if they did that again here in Cardiff. Oman's Wave Muscat are the defending champions, led by British Olympian Lee McMillan. In Wales, expect to see dogfight after dogfight with Switzerland Alinghi, who they're chasing on the overall leaderboard. But both teams need to be careful not to get too caught up with each other. Team Wales Land Rover, an invitational team for Cardiff. 27-year-old Dave Evans has taken a break from his Rio 2016 Olympic campaign. He's assembled an impressive crew. They'll have thousands cheering for them. Home advantage for sure. But to walk into this and make an impression straight away, that's going to be tough. There's every chance that Team Wales Land Rover will see a lot of the other team making their tour debut, China Spirit. A big event for Chinese crew member William Wu. He only started sailing in 2007. Any finishes in the top half of the fleet, they're bound to get big support from the home crowd. So, the form guide is looking like it's coming into reality. SAP are looking good. Alinghi and the Wave Muscat, we said we'd better watch out. They had, because SAP have got ahead of them. And the battle at the top, a little bit different. But plenty more racing to go. About the halfway stage. There's more racing today. Maybe certainly one, maybe two more races. The breeze, they said it might die. Not going to. But SAP are leading overall. 3-point advantage over Alinghi. They were the leaders coming into this event after Portugal, China, Singapore and Oman. They're on equal points with the Wave Muscat. Those two are always locked together. And Red Bull Sailing Time, look at Sailing Team, they're on equal points as well. 3 boats on equal points in second place. So, what's going to happen now? Well, I'll tell you what, in 1 minute and 15 seconds, we'll tell you. Hannah White, final race, maybe one more. And again, similar start, no space. And we're on the same course. This is just an overview of that course. Off the line, chance to stretch your legs before the teams head down to the gate. 1 or 2 marks. Coming closer to the bottom of the screens, paid. And they go up and down, play the game at the far end of the bay. And then in front of the spectators, once they've done that, here we come. All the way back, right in front of the crowds. Wind's a bit lighter here. This time a finish, 1 less lap. Okay, back to live pictures. 38 seconds to go. We've been looking out for who we think is going to get the best start. Who do we like the look of here, Hannah?
Well, we've got Real Team right in the middle there, next to our familiar favourites, the two-tone blue sails, the Wave Muscat. But I have to say, the local team, Land Rover, looking very nice in the middle there. We've got just 19 seconds to go until the start. SAP on the far right-hand side, they've got some acceleration. I think they've got enough distance as well. Let's see. Here we go.
Do you know what? I thought you were going to go for someone else. I'm going to go for SAP because there's more space at this end of the line this time. 3 seconds to go. Watch them pull the trigger now. Done it. Go. All clear at SAP.
Real Team.
Real time. There is something Rose Control are calling someone back. Who is it?
Yeah, Real Team were over the start line at the finish. So they have to turn back, recross the start line. Land Rover were also OCS, we're hearing as well. What a blow for them. Remember, if you complete the course having not returned and being over the start line, you do get disqualified. You don't get a counter, Richard.
Shall we look on the board, on the analytics? We'll go on board first and skip to the reality of who's leading. And yeah, bottom left, it's Alinghi straight off the line. China Spirit, brand new team, is second. But there's a real drag race now down towards the yellow circle. SAP super start, but the wind has changed a little and the boats have got a better angle to the mark and they're going quicker on the left-hand side. Alinghi now are leading the fleet to the first mark of this competition. China team look well placed if they can keep that angle and squeeze around the inside. We're on board with the race leader. Let's stay on board as they round that bottom mark. Anna Tunnicliffe, big work there in the middle of the boat. Looking forward, that's the Jenica out. They got the full force of that turbocharger. GAC are following them down, and that's the picture that shows the Swiss team. Hey, look, they're coming back right into this. Stay like this, they'll go into the overall lead.
Yeah, GAC just doing a turn now. Not sure what's going on there. Looks like a penalty. They didn't get their Jenica out, so not sure what's going. But right now, we've got fabulous pictures of SAP storming down to that gate alongside China Spirit. The breeze has gone right a little bit. It's picked up a little bit. It's looking a lot more stable out there on the racecourse, actually, Richard.
Hey, I can tell you what, with Alinghi, look, they're off and gone, but I'm interested in what's happening behind, aren't you? Because there is a real crowd coming down to the bottom. Brand new team from China. They are round in second. SAP are third overall. Once these boats are round, we're going to go to the analytics, which will make this all much, much clearer. Alinghi are leading. China team, surely they haven't got the advantage. They have got the advantage. China team China Spirit rounded that mark, didn't like the look of where Alinghi had gone. They said, we're going our own way, and a team that are brand new went to the right-hand side, but at the moment, you saw it happen in front of your eyes. Alinghi got the advantage. I think that is going to be clear for Alinghi, don't you, Hannah? And we got China, the Chinese entry, tacked for the mark, but I'm liking the look of SAP Extreme Sailing again.
Yeah, they're looking very nice coming in from the right-hand side over there, the far side as they head in, following on the same track as Alinghi, who have made gains over China Spirit. Alinghi round that green mark in first place. They're followed by China Spirit, who are going to make it round.
Well, this is close. The Wave Muscat and SAP is all really close there. SAP Extreme Sailing, the yellow sails tried to get into a gap. I'm not sure there was a gap there. There could well be a penalty there. SAP said, no, we're not letting them through. We're turning in front of them. They did that. The Wave Muscat are behind. There's going to be a bit of edge between those two boats now. They've had a little slap in the face.
SAP, they've been sailing pretty close to the wind today. They've had a couple of penalties so far, but they always manage to claw their way back in at the moment. So the gap 40 meters. Alinghi lead China Spirit at the moment. Great performance so far from China Spirit, this new team here on the block, flying a hull as they head down, furling the Jenica away to that gate. Remember, the teams can choose to go around either one of those two white triangular marks.
We're on board with Alinghi. They're looking pretty comfortable, but I'm liking the look of the Chinese team, who've again chosen that right-hand side of the course. That's standing at the bottom looking up. So we have Alinghi with the black and the red sails gone up the left-hand side. And I think that we're going to have a look at the SAP analytics in a moment, and that will show you exactly what the difference is. But to me, it's looking much better for the Chinese. Yeah, it is. Look, 32 meters the advantage. There seems to be a little more breeze. They have now tacked. That will slow them down. So watch that lead whittle away. But we'll stick with these analytics, because the Chinese team now are coming in towards the top mark, and we're going to leave the analytics and go to reality in a moment. And that is the picture. Alinghi are ahead, but hey, the Chinese are doing well.
The Chinese are doing really well. Interestingly, when they round this yellow mark and come towards us on the shore, actually being on the far side of the course is better. You have a better angle. It's a small bear away. For the Chinese going round, it's a big old turn, and they do lose some speed. So right now, we're on board with Alinghi. We're looking back. We can see China making their turn now. Alinghi pulled out a little bit, but Phil Robertson and his team on board China Spirit, great performance. But it's our familiar picture of the gold and white sails coming in from SAP as they head into third place, just in front of Red Bull Sailing Team.
Lovely sight that now. We've got Alinghi now just enjoying that leg sprint down. It's only a shorter race though, so not far to go. Round there, lifting a hull, and this time the wind is in their favour. They're going to slow down in a moment or two as they give the guests in that hole a real ringside view as they slide past slowly, past the St. David's Hotel. The Chinese just behind, they get that gust as well. This really is a great performance. They've had a second place already. Definitely one of the stories of the day. Alinghi, of course, were the first ever winners of from Europe of the America's Cup. A trophy which is taking place at the moment out in San Francisco Bay. But Alinghi this year winning the Extreme Sailing Series. That could all change here in Cardiff before we wrap up and head to the French Riviera. But Alinghi now, they've made this look very comfortable indeed. They were in second place. They were sharing that with the Wave Muscat and Red Bull Sailing. But this is Morgan Larson, whose day, little thumbs up there, away from the crowds. Nice work, Morgan Larson. Good work, Alinghi. Perhaps a little surprised by the team who were putting the pressure on them, Hannah.
Yeah, Phil Robertson and Team China Spirit, a great performance. They had a second in the 7th race of today, just a couple of races ago, but another second. It's good stuff for them. Remember, this is their first event in the Extreme Sailing Series. It's their first time sailing as a team in an Extreme 40. Phil Robertson has only taken part in the Extreme Sailing Series in Qingdao last year, so a great performance.
SAP Extreme Sailing just trying to shake up another of their favourites, which they do. Well, they went first, they got a second, that's a third. That's not a bad collection if you're out to win a series. Red Bull Sailing, again, there or thereabouts in fourth. And just sneaking into picture, the Wave Muscat, fifth. Not what they're looking for, fifth, but you can end up winning a series with a collection of them. So Lee McMillan crosses the line. Well, what have we learned in that race? We've learned that don't for a second write Alinghi off. You've learned that China Spirit are having a very good day indeed. And the SAP Extreme Sailing, you know, there's no accident they lure into that at the top of the leaderboard. Not sure they still are. Actually, I think they might be. We'll give you the scores in a second. Can they end the day? There's a real team cross the line. Can SAP Extreme Sailing end the day at the top of the leaderboard? A few moments for Land Rover, Team Wales and GAC Pindar. We've taught you a lot about Land Rover Team Wales being a brand new outfit. Let's just give a little kindness to GAC Team Pindar, because they've got another crew competing out in San Francisco, or about to compete. This team really haven't sailed that much together, and just getting on to a boat for the first time, however good you are at the sport, it takes time to get things going to be comfortable. Right. One more race to go. Race control are going to make that decision. I think there's enough wind out here. I really do. All right. Well, another race close. Just only 8 seconds that was. Scoreboard will be ready in 5 seconds. Race control are telling me. So that means 3 seconds from now we're going to see SAP Extreme Sailing on top. Oh, yes, they are.
But only by 1 point, Richard. 96 points so far here in Cardiff. Just 1 point ahead of Alinghi on 95 points. But Red Bull are hot on their heels, and look, they have overtaken the Wave Muscat again just by 1 point. God, it is really tight at the top. Just 5 points separate the top 4 teams. But look, 6th place China Spirit doing well. This is their first event. So a great effort from them, but SAP remain in the lead by
all right, we'll be back there in a moment or two, Hannah. Well, last year the Olympians had just arrived from Weymouth, including a silver medalist. Well, the Olympians are back, and Josh is there to talk to them now.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, Richard. Yeah, I have with me Saskia Clark.
Hi.
Hannah Mills.
Hello.
It's delighted to have us here at our sailing event, our wonderful sailing series that we have here in 2013. So an amazing year, 2012, where you both won silver. And what has 2013 given you?
We've actually taken a bit of a step back from sailing. You know, last year was an amazingly mental year, and we had so much fun, but we sort of needed to take a bit of a step back from it, come down from 2012 and figure out in our heads what the future held, and sort of pleased to say we've got back in the boat about a month ago, and that we're, you know, definitely up for the challenge of 2016 and trying to win a gold medal there.
That's fantastic. And hopefully the Antipodean guys will not get in your way this time.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, they're the Kiwi girls who beat us to gold last summer are still racing. And so, yeah, we're on a mission to make sure that doesn't happen again.
So I know Saskia's from Skip, but you are Cardiff born, aren't you? So a local girl supporting a local team.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm from Cardiff, it's my hometown, and I've just come out to support the guys who are out racing today and cheer them on, and yeah, hopefully they can put in a good performance.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys went out on the boats last year, and are you hoping to this year? Is that right?
Yeah, Hannah did the whole weekend last year on Team Wales, and she let me swap for 2 races I did as well. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's full-on racing, really hard work. So yeah, hope to get out there again for sure.
Brilliant. It was quite calm actually yesterday, but today it really has picked up. Great racing conditions today, and you've seen that out there. So just from your experience, tell us, you know, the challenges that are presented when you get those amazing gusts, and then, for example, with the hotel where it cuts out.
It's a really, really tricky race course actually. It's the racing those boats is extremely physical, especially when the wind's up a little bit like this, and the gusts hit the boat and they heel up, and you know the crew have to do so much work to change the settings to make sure the boat doesn't capsize, and it's just full on. It's absolutely frantic around the race course, but it's great fun. It's incredible.
I think we're all surprised actually that the gymnastics that have to take place on the trampoline, and as high as it gets, we had somebody had earlier on, I guess, really big guy, and he was amazed actually. They started to use him as a weight to get one of the holes down. They were like, move now, go. So so that's great that you're back together and working hard. You're going to stay with us the next 2 days as well?
Yeah, we're here all weekend. Yeah, we're doing the corporate sailing in the mornings, and there watching in the afternoon, watching the racing in the afternoon. Yeah.
So we have the Doom Bar. Do you want to pop over and do that rowing competition maybe?
I wouldn't like to, no.
Had a chance to have a look at the Land Rovers. We've got loads of them dotted about at the moment.
I'll take one for a spin, yeah, if anyone's got one for me.
That's great. So thank you very much, Saskia and Hannah, and back to you, Richard.
Well, didn't we enjoy watching them last summer? What a moment that was. Olympic silver won in Weymouth. They were happy with that. They so nearly got gold as well. Right, back on this race course. We've still got one more race to go. SAP Extreme Sailing could make some sailing history for themselves, because they could end up a day, also we've had 2 days racing here, leading the world-class fleet that we're watching in the Extreme Sailing Series. They've never done that. So, can they? Well, let's just give you a bit of an overview, because conditions have changed a little. The breeze has got a little lighter. This is the course they're sailing. They're heading down to the end of the bay again, and we've seen that up and down at the end. And we saw actually some big moves made on the right-hand side. That's closer to us in the graphic. And then this has been fairly processional, but actually pretty exciting to watch, flying hulls down towards the finish. So, shorter course, they're going to get this race in. Phil Lawrence has squeezed another race. Normally in 4-day race programs, you get, what, 7 or 8 races. In this competition, you get 30, and do you know what? You cannot discard any score. Hannah, we're just about to get into a sequence.
We're just about to go into a sequence, and this will be the sequence for race 10 today. 10 races we've had today, the final race to go. So 2 minutes to go until the start of the race. It is very, very tight. There is not much room for those of you just joining us now and catching the very end of our coverage. The sailing area here in Cardiff is very small, it's very tight. We've got 8 teams out of the water battling it out. If you line them all up, they wouldn't fit on the start line, I don't think, end to end. So it's a very short start line, but they are managing to squeeze in. The ones to watch at the moment, SAP Extreme Sailing Team at the top of the leaderboard, but only by 1 point. Hot on their heels. Alinghi having a very good couple of results in the last couple of races. So lots going on the race course. How will this last race today pan out? As Richard said, the breeze has dropped a little bit. It's a little bit more consistent. Into the final minute, Richard. It's all to play for.
Certainly is. You can probably hear the noise behind. That's race control. That's the gun. 1 minute to the start. Okay, where do you want to be on that start line? Well, there's the man who said it, Phil Lawrence. He's trying to set it true and fair, so it's equal all the way along the line. Now, where it paid last time was bottom left of your picture. Look, 44 seconds to go. Breeze has got lighter, but what we saw at the start last time was a little gust came through, and that just popped 4 boats out the pack. SAP amongst them. Well, that could well happen again because there's less breeze, but when the gusts come, it can change everything in an instant. So slightly tentative in the pre-start now. Remember, if you're over the line and you've got the start mark, and we'll just open out to give you a picture of where the line is. You've got the Chinese team. Actually, just had a picture on the right is Alinghi. 10 seconds to the start. Alinghi could have got it absolutely spot on, or are they going to be over? Charging to the line. That was the gun.
Line clear, Richard.
Oh, that was spectacular. Alinghi put the foot down, the accelerator on. There was no turning back and no need either. Great start.
What a start from Alinghi. Morgan Larson getting his absolute distance and timing spot on there. No doubt helped by Anna Tunnicliffe, the Olympic gold medalist, on board. But they are firing one hull out of the water. We're on board with them in the pictures now as they head towards their first mark. They are going to row round that mark in first position.
I reckon they are, but let's have a look at the SAP analytics, because I've got a feeling that SAP aren't looking too bad. They are bottom left. Perhaps I'm being a bit overconfident, but look, if they get that angle right there, Alinghi are off and gone, and they absolutely deserve to be. That was a start that was very brave, and fortunately for them, absolutely spot on. Past the line with momentum, and now, yeah, SAP are struggling a little as the angle gets tighter. They're heading in towards that top mark. We're familiar with that site, and we're pretty familiar now with Alinghi, who have the chance to go into the overall lead here and finish today on top of the pack. And that's a great start. And that is how it is being rewarded. Look at the lead they've got. We haven't seen that so far. Not that big in the first leg.
Well, we often hear in sailing that races are won and lost on the start line, and this might be a case in point. Alinghi having won the last 2 races, can they continue their winning streak with this 3rd race? On board with Alinghi here now in our pictures, if you're joining us around the world, as Alinghi head into the gate. They're choosing to go around this familiar mark closer to us. They can go around either one of those 2 white marks, but this is the mark that's been paying off, I think. But in 2nd place, it's the 2-tone blue sails, the Wave Muscat. They've had a great day today, consistently up in the top 4 or 5, and they're in 2nd right now.
You're right, and they've played this game together all year. Alinghi and the Wave Muscat. They've got a new friend to come and join the party. It's SAP Extreme Sailing. In this race, a little further back, but don't write them off. Okay, the game of cat and mouse that we've watched in 2 continents and 4 venues is playing itself out in the heart of Wales. Bang in the city centre of Cardiff. Well, you can see when these boats tack, they slow down. Those 2 40-foot hulls, when they turn, they almost act as a brake. So we're staying on the animations now. We see Alinghi are in the lead, but now's the turn for the Wave Muscat. They tack, they slow, Alinghi gain. 27 metres, that will extend to about, what, 31, 32 before the Wave Muscat have their chance to reel them in. And here come the Wave Muscat.
So it's a shorter course. Remember, we've seen earlier on in the day them do a longer course. It's given them more opportunity to claw their way back if they're at the top. But this is a short course. This is the final race of today. Alinghi in control. We're on board with them on the pictures at the moment. Anna Tunnicliffe, the gold medalist there, just getting the Jenniker out as they fly downwind to the gate. No distance is closed between them and the Wave Muscat. Lee McMillan's boat behind them. But they've got a great lead, those 2 boats on 3rd boat, Red Bull, the Austrian team.
Yeah, the Austrian team have been near the podium places, but not often, not in them as often as they'd like. Yeah, 50 metres or so, the difference between Alinghi and Muscat. They've got a good job of defending their lead as they head down towards the bottom of the race course. They're coming up the right-hand side. The Wave Muscat coming with a gust. Nice turning by Morgan Larson. Didn't want to leave any gap there that the Wave Muscat could have forced themselves in. They're in 2nd. This one's opened out a little, hasn't it? But the Wave Muscat, as far as Alinghi's perspective, are in the right place. Pinned behind them. Alinghi are actually just blocking their overtaking course. And the Wave Muscat must have thought it's not worth going up the other side. It's just the wrong way to go round the course. So we've really just got to stay, follow Alinghi and hope. Alinghi have tacked for the mark.
Well, there's not a lot of options left for the Wave Muscat now. They're heading to this mark, then they reach right down towards us in the heart of Cardiff city centre and go round a mark just off the harbour here and then to the finish line. So the Wave really running out of options here. So the positions we see at the moment, I wouldn't expect them to change that much. But what happened to SAP? We thought they had a great start. They just got squeezed out at the back of the pack when they went round that first mark after the start line, and down in 5th now. Not a position we're used to seeing them in.
Well, certainly not today. But yeah, and they've got a bit to do, haven't they? I think that the Wave Muscat and Alinghi, we're seeing the series return to normal, but, you know, I'm not writing the SAP out of this because we've got 2 more days. They are sailing well, as you said. And at the moment, Alinghi are heading down towards it. Shorter race, this one. Final race of the day. And we are seeing the teams that have done so well in the desert conditions of Muscat. Alinghi looking back now. Singapore. What a sight that was, racing under the skyscrapers. And we're on board now.
With Alinghi, Anna Tunnicliffe there just making some calls based on what they should do. They've got an orange passing mark which they've just left to port as they head towards the final mark before a bear away and a jibe for the finish line. But I think we should have a little look back at the course. We've got Team China who are up in 4th place. Another great performance from them. Remember, this is their first event. But looking at the SAP analytics at the moment, Alinghi, 100 metres their lead over the Wave Muscat in 2nd place. As they head down.
Well, Alinghi, yeah, they got a little gust there. It slowed down just right by the hotel. So Morgan Larson is once again taking Alinghi down towards the finish in first position. Well, the consistency on board this boat must be rather alarming for the other teams. Alinghi roll into a jibe, head down towards completion of what has been a very good day. A real chance for thousands to enjoy this team. A Swiss team that may be in a nation with no coastline, but that hasn't stopped them dominating some of the biggest tours in world sailing. And that is a handshake all round. Morgan Larson offers his hand. A somewhat exhausted high five, but a good day out on the water. And the wave muscat. Lee McMillan, familiar pose, standing, steering, crossing the line in second. Acknowledgement from McMillan, and it's that top three we see so often. Roman Agara's in a podium place, third for Red Bull Sailing. This is the final race of the day. We've seen sunshine, we've seen big breeze, we've seen thousands here. It's been a great day of Extreme Sailing Series racing. And we've seen China Spirit in their first ever day on the tour. Whoa, little gust there as they round. Yeah, they'd like that to ease off a little bit, which it has. That's a good first day for them, it really is. Last four races, they've been mixing it at the front end of the fleet. A good day for China Spirit and a super day for SAP Extreme Sailing. Don't think they're quite going to get the position they'd hoped for or lead at the end of the day, but they're going to be inside the top three boats. And Land Rover now on board Sam Goodchild, the 23-year-old, really making his name in the solo sailing world. His goal ultimately to compete in the Vendée Globe, non-stop solo around the world, or even solo. This year, he finished 11th in the Solitaire de Figaro, massively important race in France, really pushes some of the world's best sailors. That 11th position in that, no other British sailor has achieved it. So, real team crossed the line just behind Land Rover. Not quite in the day because there is a turquoise sail sliding towards the completion of their day in Wales.
Yeah, it's not been a great day for GAC Pindar, but as we have said a couple of times already today, their normal crew are out in the States, about to take part in another sailing race, the Red Bull Youth America's Cup. So it is the debut for the young skipper on board GAC Pindar from New Zealand, Brad Ferrand. He's been mentored this week by 4-time world match racing champion Ian Williams, who we've seen the face of Pindar for many, many years. They come and slide across the line in 8th place. But really, the day has been finished so superbly by Alinghi with 3 straight wins to wrap up the day. Morgan Larson and his team doing a great, great job. There we go. That's all 8 teams across the finish line. And that concludes our racing here in Cardiff Bay today.
It does. We'll be back though tomorrow. Back tomorrow, 4 o'clock local time. That's when we're here. Any changes, extremesailingseries.com, we will let you know. Okay, right. Actually, before we go, we better share the overall scores. Let's have a little look at how it ended up. Do you know what? Deja vu. The team that led on the wave from Portugal as they were unwrapping the boats and preparing the action, they've got that lead back. But hey, look, SAP Extreme Sailing Team are only 3 points behind. Defending champions, they're in 3rd. Red Bull Sailing on equal points. It's happening again. It couldn't get much closer. Right, we'll be back. If you want to watch the action down here at Cardiff Bay, 2 o'clock's the appointment that you want to keep. And hey, the weather forecast is looking good tomorrow. Better breeze. So we're looking forward to that. We will be back here tomorrow, live online, extremesailingseries.com. Wait for it, 4 o'clock. We want you to join us. Yeah, hope you do too. Bye.